Hi, I'm Average Joe Cyclist, and this is my video of the Stanley Park Seawall bike trail in Vancouver. It takes about 40 minutes to do this ride, but I've edited it down to 8 minutes just to show the high points. And obviously I have a complete review of the trail at my website www.averagejoecyclist.com. This is a really spectacular park. There's 500,000 trees in Stanley Park, plus or minus. No one's actually counted them recently, but that's a result of the fact that the area has never been cleared. This is all original forest. Some of the biggest trees in the world are in Stanley Park. Sometimes the trail runs right next to the road, but it's not a big deal. As you can see, the drivers in the park are spectacularly well behaved. Looks like they're doing about 10 k's an hour, and yeah, that's pretty typical of Vancouver. Most drivers are really polite and respectful around bicycles, with obviously there's always an exception, but most of the time they treat us well. You also see you've got pedestrians on a parallel track here, which is nice. Very often there are bits where you have to share the trail, and that gets really tricky because, as you can see, people don't really expect a bike on a bike trail usually. Yeah, bike bell is great. And just look how well people respond. It's quite awesome, really. Obviously that's downtown Vancouver on the right hand side, across the water. The famous 9 o'clock gun. Yeah, it's an old cannon that fires every day at 9 o'clock in the morning. Of course, the downside to being pretty much the best bicycle trail in the country, if not the world, is that there's lots and lots of people on it most of the time. I like to go down there at daybreak, because that's one of the few times when you can actually have it more or less to yourself. But I didn't make it down daybreak this particular day, so I had to be really, really patient. You can actually choose to just go on the road there or anywhere around the park, and a lot of very, very fit cyclists do that. It's reasonably safe. I've never heard of anyone being hurt there. But this one is more fun. And also, if you do the road one, you climb an enormous hill, whereas the cycling track is pretty flat. I was really relieved to get past this party of cyclists. Because I was just coming up for this part where it's really, really narrow and it's really hard to pass anyone, and this one goes on for a long time. At this part where it's quite narrow, there have been one or two quite really unpleasant accidents between pedestrians and cyclists, so it's really important to just stay on the cycling part and not go too fast. It really turns a lot, and every now and then an inexperienced cyclist will fall over and you don't want to be hitting into them. It's my absolutely best favorite swimming pool ever. It's really fun to take kids and play around on a summer day. At this time it was closed because it was fall. There's a great park right next to it, just to the right there. You can't really see it, but it's a kids' park. Lots of intersections. This is my favorite tunnel in the whole world because it's bicycles only. It's the only one I've ever seen. There's some beautiful gardens around this area if you're into that. This just made me wonder what happened to the riders. There's 2 bikes parked here and the riders have disappeared, so I guess they've disappeared into the bushes for some alternative amusement maybe. Another thing I like about this route is it's really well signposted. Even I can't get lost, so. Lots of interesting birds and even some swans at Lost Lagoon. Tons of Canadian geese, of course. Coming up here, cyclists are actually supposed to go on the right-hand side, though I completely missed that. You can only tell it from the little paintings on the ground. Apparently this is the rollerblading track, and that's the cycling track over there. Well, that guy figured it out. And so did he. At this point I've completed almost a full circuit. I'm coming back towards the Vancouver Rowing Club. That's it coming up. It's a really beautiful place and you can rent it for events and weddings and parties and such. There's a guy going the wrong way. Okay, and like I said, you have to be patient sometimes. Here I'm coming up behind some people who are learning to rollerblade. Well, this particular woman's carrying a helmet and learning to rollerblade, so it's interesting. This is me thinking, how can I get out of this? You can't just go around because there's actually, it's not obvious in the video, but there's quite a big drop between the cycle track and the pedestrian track. So with a heavy bike like mine, you can't just jump down. This is me lifting it down. So I can scoot by on the pedestrian side. Not something I'd recommend, but my other choice was, well, to go at a little bit less than walking speed. Yeah, I'm just coming into the parking lot, which is where I started off from. That's it. Thanks for listening. I really hope you get a chance to try out the spectacular bike trail.